Yes, Daddy.
What's going on, my fellow FURSUITERS? ZabuTheSergal here, and I'm back in another video just to educate my people. And today we got fucking Sippy on the channel.
Hi!
Actually, give her a warm welcome because it's been forever since she's even been on film, in a picture, in a video, anything like that. But yeah, okay, so today we decided that we'd go into a little bit of our backstories, like childhood era, and just kind of go into a little bit of detail as to what it was like growing up being poor as all hell. Alright, so first and foremost, we'll start with one of the biggest topics, and that would be food.
Oh my God.
Now,
Ramen noodles for life.
when it comes to growing up in a poor household, especially when you have multiple siblings, I'm like the second youngest out of 3 sisters and 3 brothers, so yeah, it was quite the ordeal. And whatever your parents put on the table, that's what you're eating. Either you eat that or
you don't eat.
Yeah, or you don't eat at all. And some of the things that we had to eat was, I'd say the most memorable thing would be biscuits and gravy. Now, because my mom, she'd just take the flour and, like, you know, make this huge loaf of bread and just bake that thing on up, and she would make her sausage gravy from scratch. And it's actually just a really, really good thing, and like, she could make that any day of the week, and I'd be like, man, it's been so long since I've eaten this, and I will eat it, because that was one of the poor meals that she could feed the whole family with, and it actually be good. What about you?
My most memorable food growing up would probably have to be oatmeal and grits.
Oh.
Like, we always had the house that, like, if we had nothing else in the house, that was it. But this is at my grandmother's house. And at my grandmother's house, either you ate or you die. There's no in between. So we had grits, and like, to this day, I cannot eat grits. I hate grits. And due to the fact that, like, you ate what was put in front of you growing up, I am the most picky eater ever. Because it's just like, now that I'm an adult, I have the option to choose what goes in my body.
Right? I think that'll probably be one of the main reasons why I'm not a big fan of, like, traditional soul foods. You know, like, you know, fried chicken, beans, cornbread, you know, things of that nature, like southern staple foods that, like, everybody is just completely on board with. I could completely care less about. I don't like to eat them. I don't prefer to eat them. I only ate them because I had to, and those foods were cheap, and you could feed the entire family with these meals. But man, as soon as I started living on my own, actually before I started living out on my own, because when I was in like high school, my mom, she would, you know, start buying me some of the foods that I would actually like and the foods that I wanted to cook. But back in the day when I was younger, living with a household full of people, yeah, it's kind of hard to be picky when you're not the one buying the food.
I would have to say, like, the one thing that, like, I feel like every poor kid ate tons of, because it's like, you can buy it and there's a lot to go around for a while, with ramen noodles.
Oh my God.
Like, I ate so many ramen noodles growing up. To this day, it's like, I'll eat them, but it's like, I get nauseous because it's like, I ate so much of these. And there's only so many ways you could eat them. Like, I would eat them the normal way, I would eat them short, I'd eat them long, I'd eat them dry. Just whatever I could to mix them up, throw tuna in it, just something to make it different.
Try to crush them up before you cook them, that way they're just in little pieces. Oh my God.
Did you know that ramen noodles is, one pack is 2 serving sizes? They're meant to be broken in half and shared. I found that out.
That they do, like, it's easy to break them in half.
If you look at the back on the pack, it says serving size is 2.
How? You can't even get full off of one of those things.
I found that out, so that was cool.
Jesus. Alright, also one thing I want to talk about is sharing, because
it's caring.
When it comes to being in a poor household, there's usually not enough of, you know, anything to go around. So when it comes to objects like, you know, video games and things of that nature, everybody didn't have their first pick on whatever they got to play with. we got the one and we had to share it. And of course, the first console that my mom got for us was the Nintendo 64. And, oh boy, luckily we had a bunch of multiplayer games like Mario Party and Mario Kart. But there were some single player games that we had. I think there was Jet Force Gemini and Perfect Dark was a couple of them. And yeah, those are, you know, single player storyboard type games, and we usually played hot seat to where whenever you're playing a game, until you die, you pass the controller. So of course, you know, me barely getting time to play, I would play for like 2 minutes and then pass it over to my brother, and he'd be playing for like hours on end, and I'm just like, yep, woe is me.
See, you're lucky though, you at least got to play. For me, it was like we'd have 1 to 2 player games, and there was 3 of us sharing. And so it would be like my brothers didn't want to share with me, so they would just like plug up a controller and let me pretend to play as they're playing.
Oh no.
So I would sit there and I would like play on the controller pretending I was the one playing on the screen when it was my brothers.
Because we would do that exact same thing with my little brother, and now I feel so bad.
I would get so mad. I'm like, when is it gonna be my turn? You're playing, can't you see on the screen? Yeah, you're doing that. And I'm like, I'm not dumb.
Oh no. Oh man, I feel like such a dick because we used to do that same thing.
See, I could say the one thing when it comes to sharing I was lucky was I was the only girl in the house out of 2 boys. So while I got my own fresh new clothes, my middle brother got my oldest brother's hand-me-downs. So I never had to worry about that because I was a girl.
Very true. You didn't have to go through all the ropes of the whole, oh, well, you got this and you got that and he can fit that, so he's going to wear that even though you wanted to wear that on this day. You're just like, I got all my stuff and y'all can bicker over y'all stuff.
Absolutely. And since I was the only girl, I got my own room.
Yeah.
While my brothers had to share.
Yeah, which comes to that. Usually whenever you're sharing rooms with one of your siblings, we only had 1 bed. And like, we had to sleep in what we call head to toe. Because for whatever reason, we're weird about like sleeping head to head because...
Too romantic.
Yeah, we just didn't think, hey, just, you know, turn away from each other and go to sleep. We're like, no,
that's gay.
Right? We're like, yo, our heads can't be facing the same way, so we'd have to sleep like head to toe, and it was like the weirdest thing. But hey, that's just how we had to do it because we had 1 bed, and yeah, and I've always had to sleep with a fan on, and my brother didn't like sleeping with the fan on, so
I think that's where my issue comes from sharing my room now. Because like even when my friends, when I lived with my mom and my friends would come over, I didn't want them in my room. I'm like, this is my room. You can sleep on the couch. I think my friends ended up sleeping more in my brother's room than they ever did in mine. For several reasons. We're not going to get into that.
Because they gave you the unplugged controller, that's why. You're like, this shit is coming back full circle. Oh my god.
See, like, luckily when it came to my house, I got my own bed. But when it came to like having to stay at my grandmother's, which we did a lot growing up because my mom was like single mother raising 3 kids, we would stay with my grandma and she would stick all 3 of us in 1 bed.
Oh yeah.
And I was always the one on the edge of the bed with no blanket, barely a pillow, and on the verge of getting pushed off.
Oh man, oh man.
It was just kind of like, get the fuck out of here.
just get out of here. But yeah, I don't know how long this has been going on, but hey, you know, if you grew up poor like we did,
we can relate.
Yeah, it is by no means a bad thing. If anything, it makes you more humble because...
You learn to appreciate what you got now.
Yeah, because being spoiled is not in my system at all. I don't even know what that's about.
I get the spoiled, but not on that level.
Yeah, not just, you know, getting everything you want whenever you want it. I mean, you know, our parents did what they could with what they had with who they had to give it to, which was all the siblings. So just
The door shut.
Oh, right now we're gonna go ahead and close this. Our social media things are gonna be down in the divvy below, so yeah, give us a follow and, you know, go subscribe to her channel because she'll probably post for like another couple of videos and then she'll go on another hiatus for like a couple months unless you guys put it in her soul that she needs to keep making videos. For the love of God, she almost has 1,000 subs, so she needs to get on it. But as always, my name is ZabuTheSergal along with DaddySenpai, and we're out of here.
Blah.